So today it's a big job. It's a 3-day job. There's 4 of us. We did this site visit about a month ago, and we haven't seen what it looks like now. So it's always a surprise. A lot of things have grown. So we're expecting to see some very, very big blackberries that we need to remove, and a whole bunch of other stuff that needs to be cleared out. So we've arrived at the site. We've been set up for a little while. This is what it looks like if you were to pull in. It's quite a nice location. So we're just starting the walk around, and it doesn't look like it's grown too much since we were here last, but this garden is completely overrun with blackberries, and it's huge. We were talking to the customer, and she was saying that she's lived here, she grew up in this house, and some of these plants have been here for 60 years when they first built the house. We're going to be trimming this laurel hedge down. It's an evergreen, so it can handle a bit of a pruning at this time of the year. But this is the garden area. She was explaining that there are some things like the bricks from this siding they did are somewhere up in here. But we'll be cleaning all of this up. You can see they've taken a couple of cracks at trying to get the blackberries under control, but they're just completely overrun. And this is the other side of the garden. We're bringing in a 20-yard bin. It's going to be parked right here. But it's a little bit more massive when you get over to this side. Here's one of the things that we get to witness in the garden regularly. Esta.
Hi.
She takes her weeding very seriously.
Oh, not weeding.
These are blackberry stems.
They're horrible.
And there are many, many of them, and they are very wiry, and they go to a size where you can't get them out anymore, but she's pretty determined.
Success.
Success.
And on to the next one.
And that makes it all worthwhile.
It does.
We have begun day 2 of this project. Just getting set up here. Getting the tools out. What we have to do today, we're going to be removing this row of bushes and weeds, pruning this back, pruning and shaping these bushes. Going to be cleaning up the whole edge of this. This could use a good cleanup also. We just found out they want these removed as well, so I'm going to be tackling that. Right now, Darian is starting to trim the laurel. This is day 3 now. Let's go. One of the things on this job was this small hillside of weeds. And we have a natural solution, very potent natural solution that we use. We always have to come back a couple weeks later, see how things are looking. But this is after 2 days of treatment. It was all looking like this, and now we've got a whole bunch of it starting to die back. And rather than weed whack all of this or try and pull all of it, doesn't do anything because it leaves the root system. So the solution we use goes down into the plant, down into the root system, and it will come back for sure, but this gets it reined in and kind of under control. So it's awesome to see this. Here's 2 of the superheroes from the 3-day project. There's another one over there. Bernie took the day off today because it was just sort of a wrap up. It's going to be really nice to hand this back to the customer, because this was actually in the garden when we got here. It's kind of a machete for hacking down blackberries, but they don't have that problem anymore. So now if you were the homeowner and you walked out your front door, you'd recognize it, but it would look a lot different than it did a couple of days ago. Definitely. There's always more that can be done, adding extra soil, looking at some of the flaws in the landscaping, fixing other things, but this was stage one to just get it back under control. And it looks dramatically different than it did in the first video. You can't even recognize it. Well, you can, but there's things that you can see now that you couldn't even see before. And one of those things is you couldn't even see through to the other side. And now there's actually ground clearance right across all of the plants. There's still more that could have been done, but we always have a certain amount that we can do. Took out a bunch of extra trees, including a maple that was right in here. Got rid of everything that was on the end here. Cleaned this all up, even though the tree keeps on dropping its fuzzy little things. Again, you can see all the way down to the house. And this is where we took out a cluster of chestnut trees. It's a massive, massive difference from where it was at. And all of these stones that are going to be used for the entrance posts that they're going to build, all of these stones were inside the garden right there, so we moved them all, and it's a fair bit all by itself. This was a bunch of bushes and weeds, and we cleaned all of it out. And then there's I think it's called a silver birch at the end that was hanging down quite a bit. We gave it a really good trim, cleaned up all the weeds out of the rock bed, trimmed back these barberry bushes and cleaned up the garden. Spent an hour pulling morning glory out of the cedars. String trimmed all the way up here. That's what 2.5 days of time with our little powerhouse operation can do. And like I said, we're coming back in to talk about upkeep going forward. And there's Esta still going around with the hand pruners, nipping off little things as finishing touches, just like she's a little fairy skipping through the garden. See? Almost the same. Oh, and just one last thing. Thanks very, very much for taking the time to watch the video. I shoot these so we have documentation of everything that we've done, but it's nice to know that other people are enjoying them too. It's a good way to spend a bit of time in the garden if you don't get out too often. Have a beautiful day.